Hello. Welcome to this new video. This time I want to go over another very useful tool for open source intelligence, or OSINT as many people refer to it as. And that is SpiderFoot, as you can see right in here. SpiderFoot is a tool that is command line based, but you can also enable the GUI interface of that. As I mentioned before, this is an open source intelligence that is going to gather information from many different sources about your specific target. For instance, I am running the tool against one of the test websites that I have. And as you could see, it's collecting all this information, and it's going to provide the information in a very easy table that I can read and understand what I'm doing for. Something that you have to keep in mind here is that nothing that this tool is going to show you is a secret unless it is publicly available, right? So perhaps it's a mistake, the target that you have made, making that information public, but this is not a hacking tool. This is a tool that you use to collect information on your target or on the target that you are doing the assessment on. And it's one of the many tools out there. Something that I liked about it is that when you run the tool, it's going to have like some very nice, good looking graphs. This is more of a visualization of the different hosts and connections that the target is associated with. But in reality, this is not that practical. It's not something that perhaps you're going to be using on a regular basis. It's more of a, catching your attention type of thing. But what you need to keep in mind in this, let me go over to New Scan. When you click on New Scan, you're going to have the option, obviously, of creating the scan based on the domain name, if that's what you choose, the IP address, before v6, the subnet, and you can also do searches on Bitcoin addresses, email addresses, so on and so forth. The use case, this is what you have to pay attention to, right? If you select all, what's going to happen is that SpiderFoot is going to throw everything at your target, and by everything, I'm talking about like all the modules right here at your target to collect that information, whether that information is relevant to you or not. Now, this is where you have to think about what is it that you would like to do and what information would you like to collect. If you're doing an assessment for the first time and you want to capture everything, by all means, select all the modules. But you can also select specific modules on what you're looking for. Let's say that you want to do DNS brute force reconnaissance, right? You will use something similar to that, like DNS for families or DNS resolvers or anything related to DNS. There's no reason to have everything enabled if you are looking for one specific thing. So you can enable or disable these options. And if you go back to New Scan, it's just taking, as you could see, my CPU utilization is kind of high on this VM, so I have to assign more resources. Or you can select one of the use cases by footprint, investigative, or passive. Required by data, you're going to select the modules too, or the modules in here. Once you create the new scan based on your target, you are going to see that you're going to have a nice organized ways to have this information. In this case, this target, this scan still running. Again, something to keep in mind, this is not going to find any vulnerabilities for you. What this is doing is collecting open source information. I just have to reinforce that over and over. This is not a vulnerability assessment solution. So once you collect this information, for instance, if you click on any of these information that has been found, it's going to take you over to the other page where you can analyze more about that information. Another thing that you may want to keep in mind is the source module. As you could see, to find this information, the source module was SP Spider. But if we come down to other items in the findings, for instance, let me come back to something else, probably DNS or probably IP addresses. Let me come here. For instance, if I want to find this, right, like affiliate IP addresses, let me just click on that. You're going to see that the module that was used for that is DNS neighbor module. Why am I bringing this up? Because you can also use this tool from the command line if it is more comfortable for you, and you're going to be able to specify the modules, and to me that's going to be a little bit faster. Not that the system is going to work faster, but if you're used to the command line, that's something that you may want to do. So let me bring over my command prompt in here, my terminal, and this is not the one I want the other. So right in here I have an example of that. So the first thing that you would like to do is, if you want to get help on SpiderFoot, just do -H and you're going to see the help menu on this. The help menu is pretty straightforward, right? You have the H, the L, this is the port that you're going to be listening on, and the IP address. I'm going to show you that in a minute. And then you have the modules that you would like to use, and if you want to see all the modules, just to see. So let me come over to the other tab in here. What did I do? So this is the my capital T is the types, least available event types that you want to use with the Spider. You can select these event types from this menu, and you have a lot of information to collect. But what is more important to me, and something that I use quite often, is paying attention to the modules that are preloaded or that came pre-installed with this version of SpiderFoot, and it is -M. And this is exactly the same thing that I was telling you before right here from the GUI, that you can select the modules that you would like to use for your scan. So let me come back here. Or these are the modules that are detecting information, right? So as you could see, if we're going to do a scan, you can select the modules, and these are the modules that you can select. Now, you can type it, and we're going to run an example if you want to do it in that case. For instance, if you want to run a scan on CNN.com, you would do a SpiderFoot space -S, and S is what comes after S is the target. In this case, it's a domain that you would like to do, right? So you'll type it and you're going to get this information. As you could see, in this case, you may want to say, you know what, maybe it's easier if I run it from the GUI because it's visually better. So another thing that you can do is say, you know what, let me run a specific module against that target. And in this case, I want to use the DNS brute, right? So when you run it, you're not going to run everything. If you just type SpiderFoot with the target, the system is going to throw everything at it. It's similar to doing the this option of all. But if you're looking for something specific, then you only type that specific function and you're going to get that specific information. And lastly, what I want to show you is that you have the option of running this in the GUI. Obviously, this is what I show you first. But when you open SpiderFoot, it automatically is going to go into the command line. It's not going to go to the GUI. For that, you need to enable SpiderFoot and specify the loopback address and the port that you would like to run that on. That in this case is port 5001. And for that, the command is pretty simple. Just type SpiderFoot and then -L for listening port, and you will type the loopback IP address 127.0.0.1 and the port that you would like to listen to. I already have this session, so I'm not going to hit enter. But when you do, then the system is going to enable that connection, and then just open up your web browser and point to that IP address, to that socket, that IP address and that port. And then you're going to come here. So that is SpiderFoot in a nutshell. It is a very useful tool. as long as you know what you're looking for or you want to have an idea of what you're looking for. You may start with doing a scan on everything and then narrow down on specific things. The last thing that I want to mention, we're not going to do this now, is that you can, if you want, integrate SpiderFoot with other services through an API. And that's going to extend the capabilities of the application. And many of these you could see right here. You would need an API key to utilize these services at a higher level, which is very powerful, by the way, because one of the options that you have is that you can search into the dark web and all these things that, you know, look kind of funny and all that, but you can extend your searches through API. That's what I'm trying to say. And on the next video, if you found this information useful, let me know and we can create a video for that. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this information useful. If you did, consider subscribing to the channel and maybe forwarding this information to somebody that maybe benefit from it, and click on the like button. I really appreciate that. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you on the next video.